What is up, party people? Happy Pokemon season, kind of. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is out, and, well, I hope you guys have been enjoying it. Now, don't let me ruin your fun if you're having it, or if you're here to get vindicated on your thoughts and feelings towards the game, well, that's fine too. I mean, this is a really good game, I will say. Underneath it all, it is a really good game, but it's trying to get to that good game that is so insanely difficult, because one moment, you'll be having the best time of your life that you've ever had in a Pokemon game, maybe aside from Pokemon Legends, and the next second, something happens to ruin the experience. Whether it be a glitch, some sort of performance issue, or something else entirely, it gets really bad. So let's start with what those good things are. And one of those things is the follow Pokemon are finally done right. This is something I have wanted for so long out of Pokemon, because somehow Game Freak has managed to botch this in every 3D title before this. To the point where in Pokemon Legends, to make sure that game was as polished as possible, they didn't even have the Pokemon follow you, which I was fine with because then there was no immersion breaking. But here in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, they figured it out. The Pokemon even go around objects to get to you. It is actually really well done. So props to Game Freak on this regard. And even further on the topic of Pokemon Picnic, which is a great evolution of Pokemon Camp. Now this entire mechanic is a dream come true for me. You can take your entire team out, you have it in any given area in the overworld. It is absolutely such a joy to take your Pokemon out here and you can play with them, you can wash them, you can play with a ball, and unlike camp, you actually get to see them play around with the ball in the overworld, and it's very fluid and just very well done. You can make food for them and you can all eat it, and it heals your team just like in Pokemon Sword and Shield, which I really enjoy, and it's much faster this time, which I also really enjoy, and also just in general more enjoyable to make the food in this game. Like, you don't have to sit through a 10-minute mini game. You just kind of put the stuff together like you actually would in real life and give it to your Pokemon. It actually is that seamless. And finally, there's the ability to tackle the world however you want to, and to play it with friends and co-op. It's funny because I'm going to talk about the performance issues later, but the performance of the game actually does not dip any lower than usual when you have your friends in co-op. It's almost like the game always assumes that people are going to be in your world for co-op. I don't know, it's the weirdest thing. Co-op is really fun. The ability to tackle the game in any order is really fun, and to be able to do that while in co-op with your friends is really, really cool, and very, very maturely done as well. I'm surprised that they were able to code this in so well, especially considering the rest of the issues this game poses. So that's it for the positives. That's all I could think of, honestly. Again, these are really big positives, so they are part of the core experience, which is why I'm saying this is such a good game underneath it all. But the things that get in the way. Now, let's start with the big elephant in the room, and that is that they lied again. They marketed this as the first truly open world Pokemon game. This is not an open world. If this is an open world, then Pokemon Legends Arceus is an open world, because there are parts of this map that are completely separate from the quote-unquote open world. Like Mesagoza, the biggest city in the game, the main hub, is completely separate from the open world. It's no different from having to go from Jubilife Village in Pokemon Legends to going to any of the zones in Pokemon Legends. It's literally separate from the map. And on top of that, there are other places too, like the lighthouses, that you go through a loading screen and a black fade out to get into that separate area. This is not an open world. It's not truly open world. It's no more open world than Pokemon Legends is. So in that case, this is just a bigger sandbox. On top of this, we thought that we were getting the best customization in a Pokemon game. And in a way, we did. I mean, with the characters' faces and their hair. But the clothing, there's only 4 options. 4 options. You get them from the start, and that's it. There is nothing else. There's nothing else. You can put on accessories, but the clothing outfits themselves, there's only 4 of them, and that is it. So many people are disappointed by this. I know every single one of my friends have been disappointed by this. I know I'm pretty disappointed by this. You can't even change the colors on your outfit, only on the accessories. It's crazy to me that they took customization out from previous titles where they seem to be going in a trend of giving us more and more options. Now with the gameplay, the battles are so slow. Oh my goodness. I was so hoping that they would have kept the pacing and the speed from Pokemon Legends, but they did not. And now I may sound like I'm talking about Pokemon Legends a lot, but I know a lot of people who, even longtime Pokemon defenders, who are telling me that it is really rough to go into this game after playing Pokemon Legends and dealing with these slower battles, because the effects on screen and the text boxes happen separately again. Like, instead of it saying your Pokemon is paralyzed and showing the animation for the Pokemon being paralyzed at the same time, it does them separate. And there's a loading time between those. And when you do stat changes, such as against the Titan Pokemon, when they raise and lower a bunch of their own stats, you have to wait at least 10 to 20 seconds before you can act again, because it goes through every single buff and debuff very slowly, again with loading times in between, as if it can't process what is happening fast enough. It is a slog, and this is enhanced further by how slow the performance is, but I'm going to get to that in a bit. Now, let's talk about more regressions to the gameplay and more reasons it feels awful to play it, and that is because there is a lack of satisfactory animations for the player character. Everything feels slow and it looks unnatural. When you throw your Pokemon out to walk around with you, it is slow and it looks unnatural. When you tell your Pokemon to go do the let's go command, it is slow, it's awkward, it's hard to aim them. It is just all around, it feels so bad. And it's sad because, again, harkening back to Pokemon Legends, every action and reaction in that game felt satisfying and had great sound effects to accompany that, making everything just have an impact and a bang. And we're lacking that here. The running animations for your player character are floaty and the motions look unnatural. And it's weird because they definitely used motion capture for some things, specifically NPCs, and even some idle animations for your player characters. So why in the world did they not motion cap for your actual actions that your player character does? It boggles my mind how bad these look compared to everything else, but these are the things that we're going to be doing most. Why is it so bad? And you want to talk slow and unnecessary? Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Eevee and Ivy system has been reverted back to how it used to be, where you have to go through the tedium of breeding, you have to go through the tedium of, you know, making your Pokemon do certain things to get better Eevees and Ivies. They had an elegant solution for this in their previous title. Why did they not keep that? Why can't we just take any Pokemon we want to be our best version of themselves and make them the best version of themselves? What if we feel close to that particular Pokemon? This is such an outdated and archaic system. I don't know why it still exists. Now let's go back to how slow this game is. The battles, like I said, are very slow. The motions, the gameplay, the pacing of the game itself is all very slow. So what is the worst thing that you can do with a slow game like this? Have a slow performance. Why is it that they made the game this slow, knowing that they couldn't optimize it for the one system that they programmed this for, mind you? They developed this specifically for the Switch and still did not optimize it. And you have this slow performance on top of this slow game. It's constantly forcing me to yawn. Like, I feel constantly like the game is telling me, yes, yawn, you are tired, you are sleepy. And here's a headache with these jaggy visuals and the sporadic frame rate. It is painful. It is absolutely painful to play this game. Even the menus are laggy. Like I said, in battle, you're constantly waiting even in between button presses for the actions to happen or for the next menu to pop up, or when you go into your boxes from the main menu. Everything is slow and laggy. I don't understand. Like, they're 2D assets. They're just little JPEGs. Why is it slow and laggy? Why can't the game process that properly at the very least when it's already struggling to run 3D assets? I don't get it. The coding for this game is so outdated and archaic, mind you, that they're using techniques from the 80s and 90s, and because of this, the game experiences something called memory leak. If you don't know, memory leak means basically that the longer you play the game, the slower it's going to get. That chugging and slowdown that I've been talking about this entire time gets worse and worse the longer your game is open. And even beyond the general slowness and memory leak slowdowns, the frame rates and refresh rates of NPCs, Pokemon, and structural assets are also awful. So you have these NPCs in the background, right? And they will just like spaz into different positions as if that's natural. It's not natural. They're not even that far away and they're doing this. You'll go up to something that's big and grand, such as a giant windmill, which is like the centerpiece of one of the towns. And it spazzes to different positions. It doesn't have a smooth windmill-like motion. It's insane. And it's jarring when it's even in cutscenes. You would think that it might just be something in gameplay, but no, there's like shots of you in a classroom with this happening in cutscenes. And then we got the glitches. Oh boy. I know you guys have been looking at the glitches online. There's plenty of videos out there. I have a few myself that I'll be sharing. It is crazy how many glitches are in this game. And it gets so bad that they commit the ultimate offense. And that is crashing your game. I cannot stress enough, this is the first time in a Pokemon game that I am keeping autosave on. Why? Because this game loves to crash. In the first 2 days, it happened once each day to me and to my friends. One of them being Kayla's Capsule, who played for over an hour and lost all of that data because her game crashed to the point where I looked over and it looked like she was gonna cry. Like, it was that bad. It was sad. She caught a rare Pokemon, she got a bunch of other rare things, and the game crashed without her having saved in a while. And I know she viewed that as a slap to the face because she only plays Pokemon and Animal Crossing, and she has always overlooked their flaws, even Pokemon Sword and Shield. But this moment, you could tell, was a game changer for her. Literally. Be careful and watch out for this. But what have your experiences been with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet? Let me know down in the comments what the craziest things that have happened to you, whether they're good or bad. Let it all out, and stick around the channel for more videos on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, including this video right here where I talk about all the different reviews and the consensus among them. I've been johtojonny. See you in the next video.